Beginning on Wednesday, November 6th, and running through Saturday, November 9th, the Burton Academy Performing Arts Department will present Radium Girls, a historical drama set in the 1920s and based on the true story of a group of female factory workers who were sickened by the radium-based paint they worked with. The play traces their struggles through the early signals that something is causing a very premature decline in their health, and through a long, drawn-out legal battle with the company they worked for. Ironically, the toxic radium they were exposed to as they painted watch dials, often after dipping their radium-infused paintbrushes in their mouths to get a finer point on the paintbrush, had been considered to be a health benefit that could possibly cure cancer. The play is directed by Jim Raposa, the theater director at Burton Academy, who discussed Radium Girls with us during a recent rehearsal.
What prompted me to pick this show is a bit of a convoluted answer. We are, I believe, celebrating 175 years of, I believe, when women came into BBA and became students here. And I may be wrong, it may be 145, but it was one of those two times. And I thought it was important that we celebrate the fact that women have been a part of this institution for as long as they have. This show came onto my radar as I was looking for a piece because I had some very, very, very strong actresses that I wanted to challenge. And I'd looked at this show before, probably for the past 4 or 5 years. And then I finally dove into it and I read the play, and I was really impressed with the play. And the story that it covers and the themes that it covers are still relevant today. And that was the biggest thing about it, is that women are still fighting for their rights in the workplace. I think I heard the other day, women are still paid 84 cents per dollar that a man makes. Also, these young women really pioneered OSHA, and they pioneered what it was for workers' safety in a workplace. This play dealing with radium, which was this wonderful cure for cancer that Madame Curie had discovered, and for everything else that cure meant, and what radium meant was also thrown into the public's eye as a wonder drug. Wear it for your inner glow and beauty. Use it for your hair. I mean, it was in butter. It was in all of this stuff. And they started to find out that it was not really good for you. With every show that we do here and that these young actors and actresses work with, I do think, that is one of the hardest parts, is how do you relate to these people who experienced life so differently than you do. The interesting thing about this is that our leads, our 3 female leads, are very close to the ages of who they would have been in real life. D.W. Gregory created this historical piece, and I believe she states it as a historical piece of fiction based on realistic historical events. So the characters are also these kind of conglomerates of other characters that come and go in the historical archives. And I think that was difficult for them. I believe that doing the research to visually see what was happening to the bodies, to see how fast they were becoming sick. That was difficult for them because there's a sense of justice and right and wrong now that these young women nowadays are feel very comfortable most of the time, I would think, standing up for themselves and what they believe in. Back in the 1920s, that may have not been as prevalent as it is today.
We also spoke with Sadie Eggers and Mika Hansen, 2 of the cast members in Radium Girls. So which part do you play in this?
I play the role of Grace Fryer. She's one of the women who works in the factory, and she's kind of like the main protagonist heroine of it. there's a lot of growth in her character, and she's basically taking the story through a lot of years where she's working in the factory, and then when she's starting to fight for, compensation and rights and all that kind of stuff.
Okay. So what did you find most interesting about her character, and the role that you're playing in there?
I think it's really just how much kind of change she goes through. I mean, from the beginning of the show, she's always a very passionate person. She's always very caring, but she's 15 at the start of the show, so she's naive. She doesn't really understand exactly. She looks for the best in people, and the show is almost this like call to reality for her. Like the entire progression, she starts as this, she doesn't want to do the wrong thing, she doesn't want to make anyone upset, she doesn't want to, she trusts people very easily, and she sees the best, and she thinks that they're doing the best. And throughout the show, there's so many people that she realizes they're using her, they're not telling her the truth, they're gonna everybody has their own interest in mind. So she starts this show as, this very youthful, very lively girl, and even physically, she's starting to just deteriorate. And so it's like her whole she grows up so much with this show, which is also really tricky to do because, it's fitting so much growth into 2.5 hours of a show. And she's such an inspiration because of where she comes from and where she goes with it. So yeah, I think it's mostly just being able to see how much she grows.
Okay, Mika, so which part do you play?
I play Catherine Shobe.
And what is her role?
Catherine is one of the dial painters in the Radium Factory. She's a close friend of Grace's, and she's actually a combination of many of the notable dial painters that were in Orange County, New Jersey. So Catherine Shobe is a real person, but she is more of a combination of multiple characters for the play.
And what did you find most interesting about this role?
What I found most interesting was probably the fact that so many people don't know about this story. I had never heard about it, and getting into the research, of course, it's heartbreaking, but it's also such an interesting piece of history to learn about. So I think what I find most interesting is just that so many people don't know about it. I think that was definitely my biggest challenge with getting into this character, was showing with my body language that I was sick and that I'm ill and dying, but still keeping the balance of, being loud enough and enunciating my words so that people can hear me when I'm on the stage. But I've never had an illness that was life-threatening or debilitated me in the way that the radium poisoning affected these girls. So it's definitely hard work, but after talking to different people in my family who have faced different illnesses, I have a way to get into that character, but every run through it is still hard work and effort that I have to put in.
The curtain at the Riley Center for the Arts at Burton will be rising at 6:30 p.m. on each of the show nights from November 6th through the 9th. There will also be a special exhibit in the theater lobby, prepared by several of the other departments at the school to help explain and enhance the show. Tickets are available for purchase online at bbatickets.com. Prices are $10 for Burton students, faculty, and staff, and $15 for the general public. For the GNAT-TV News Project, I'm Andrew McKeever.